Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to this segment of the P2P Bootcamp course. And today we are talking about labor costs. Now, just to recap, so far we have developed an idea, we've proven and built a concept. Hopefully, you have that finished. We have talked about revenue and how to forecast revenues properly. You have then moved on to cost of goods sold. So now the next course in this is labor costs. And labor costs are extremely important. And the biggest thing to remember in labor costs, which so many people forget, is that people forget to pay themselves as owners, which is super important. So if you could take anything out of today, always remember to pay yourself. Whenever I build out a labor cost on my Excel worksheets, I always add in the owner as management because you want to be paying yourself, and there's tax benefits to that, which your accountant can tell you about. There's a lot of more benefits to paying yourself as an employee and then making the profits on top of it. So without going into much more detail, when we talk about labor costs, we're talking about people who you are hiring in to do a job that you need them to do. So a lot of you could have a business that you've started that you're just doing yourself, and so this really isn't for you. But a lot of businesses out there, 90% of businesses, you're going to have to hire somebody, you're going to have to recruit. So you're going to have to do recruiting and hiring. So how do you do that? How do you find the right people? And then how does that translate over into a worksheet? So if you haven't already, pull up the Excel worksheet, or while I'm talking, do that, because I'm going to talk a little bit about recruiting and hiring people. And it is extremely difficult. People have such a tough time finding good people to do jobs. And the reality is a lot of times you are hiring people in. If you are in a retail business, if you are in a restaurant business, if there's anything where people are coming in and your people are front and center, you're paying people pretty much minimum wage to be the face of your business. So how do you find people that are going to come into work with great attitudes and are going to represent you and your business well? First of all is that you need to find people and you need to make sure that they respect you. So how do you find the right people? It is not off of a resume. I can tell you that right now. In what I do and what we do here, I have never hired someone off of a resume, and I never will, because I don't care about what you've done. I only care about how you can help me. Now, I will call references because I want to make sure that they're not a thief or they're not lying about who they are. So I will call references, but I could care less about what that person has done in the past, job-wise. I only care if this person has a great attitude, if they come into work every day with a smile on their face, if they align with what I believe in, and if they are going to respect me. And if they do those things, then I can train them to be great staff members. I can't train someone with a bad attitude. So find people with great attitudes, do something different. If you're putting an ad out in the paper, make your ad different than everyone else's. Don't put in, job fair at this time at this location, show up with your resume. You're going to get people who are doing that over and over, don't have a job. You have to be creative in your advertisements. Do something different. Do something that catches people's attention. Do something that's maybe a little bit confusing that only someone with a sharp mind may be able to get. And when you talk about job fair, one of the most successful job fairs that I had been in was when we put in an ad saying, listen, there's not a job fair, but if there was a job fair, it would be at this location and at this time. But don't show up because there isn't a job fair. So you're going to get that by people who aren't so sharp, aren't going to get that ad and aren't going to show up. But you're going to get the right people show up to your job fair to not waste your time. So even when you're hiring, do things that are a little bit different. Be creative. Look online about different ways of hiring. You'll find ways to find absolutely great people, recruit great people, and train them. So you got to be different and true to your concept. Don't sell yourself as something that you're not. You are who you are. You want to attract the people that align themselves and who are genuine. So do those. Don't place boring ads. Do something different. Okay. Now, once you've selected a number of people for your prospects in the interview, I'm going to go through a little bit later on the interview process and how to find those right people and what questions you should be asking in order to be able to make sure that these people are great. So most important part of this you can take from it is you need to find great people. So if maybe you're not in a situation to hire someone right now, and that is okay, but you need to be thinking about it. I'm going to show you why. So I want you to pull up your Excel spreadsheet, and we're going to leave off where we were on the cost of goods sold sheet. Okay? So I am going to pop up here into my Excel worksheet, and you're going to see this was the cost of goods sold from our last lesson. And at the bottom in here, if you haven't done this, I'm not too sure if Paul had gone through this with you, but now we have gotten our gross profit. So I'm just going to eliminate this to show you guys. The way in which you get your gross profit is this is equal to your total revenue up here at the top minus total cost of labor. And that is going to get you your gross profit. You can just drag that all over and auto sum this to get your total. Boom. Perfect. So now that we have gross profit, we need to speak of labor costs. Now, like I said, there's different parts of labor costs, but essentially in every business, you're going to have management. So I want you to type this in as I go. You're going to have management. You are going to have what I call front staff, what I call back staff, and admin. Okay? So management is yourself, plus if you need another manager on top. So if you have a store and you need to hire someone because you're not going to be there full time, you need to hire manager or managers. You need to figure out how many managers you're going to need. And this is the salary that you are going to pay them. So you need to build out and you need to think about what type of money do I need to make to be comfortable? And that could be anything. So for this, we're just going to say $5,000, okay? So for yourself, you need, I'm just going to write this down as I go, you're going to need $5,000 for yourself. And you're going to need one other manager, full-time manager or general manager to work with you. And you're going to pay him, depending on the industry, whatever, but I'm going to put $5,000 a month down for him as well, okay? So you're essentially paying $60,000 or 120 if you total it up a year. So you're going to add that in. So 10,000 is what you're going to pay your manager. And you have to realize that wages go up. So we're talking about the first year here, but if we're dealing in years 2, years 3, years 4, you're going to have to essentially pay your people more if they're great. You want to pay great people. You should be excited and elated to give someone a raise. That you shouldn't have people, if you're waiting for someone to walk in your door to ask for a raise, you're doing it wrong. You should be calling people into your office and rewarding them with bonuses and raises all